Take that!
Stop it! Let her go!
Oh my god!
Think you know what power looks like? You think it's the gun on the table, or the millions stashed in a vault. You're dead wrong. True power is realizing you're about to lose the only thing that makes you human. Dante Cavallo ruled Chicago like a god, a man who didn't fear death because he welcomed it. But at 2 a.m., his phone rang, a call from his terrified maid. That single ring didn't just get his attention. It froze him to his core. Please, come home. She's destroying her. Those 6 words transformed a cold-blooded king into a man running toward a nightmare he never imagined. When Dante opened that door, what he found didn't just break his heart, it froze his soul. The Chicago rain didn't wash away the city's sins. It just made the pavement slicker for blood to run into the gutters. Inside the VIP lounge of the Obsidian, Chicago's most exclusive private club, the air reeked of expensive cigars and fear. Dante Cavallo sat on a velvet armchair that looked more like a throne than furniture. At 32, with eyes like scorched espresso and a jaw sharp enough to cut steel, he was the undisputed king of the Cavallo crime family, and he was bored. Across from him, Thomas Ali, a rival distributor who'd been skimming off the top of the shipping lanes, fidgeted like a rat trapped in a cage. I'm telling you, Dante, Ali stammered, using his first name, an insult by association. My accountant. Arthur, he made a mistake. Dante didn't flinch. Arthur had been dead 3 days. Unless Arthur is cooking books from hell, you're lying to me. Dante signaled Rocco, his mountain of an enforcer. Rocco stepped forward, a heavy silencer glinting ominously in the dim light. The room's tension was suffocating, thick as smoke. Then the phone buzzed against Dante's chest. He ignored it. Nobody ever called his personal line. Only 3 people had it, his consigliere waiting outside, his mother in Sicily, and the house phone at the Blackwood estate. The phone stopped. Then started again. Dante pulled it out, his hand steady, his voice ice cold. Home. A cold spike of irritation hit him. He had left strict instructions. Amelia knew better than to interrupt business. She had been married to him 6 months, a union forged for power, not love, and while she was gentle, being Mrs. Cavallo meant knowing silence was golden. Senor, please, it wasn't Amelia. It was Greta, the head housekeeper. 30 years serving the Cavallo family. The woman who had once bandaged Dante's knees when he fell off his bike. And now, she was screaming, hysterical, a sound Dante had never imagined from her. Greta, Dante growled. Calm down. What is it? You have to come home now. Oh God, the blood, there's so much. Dante's world shrank. The club, the money, the traitors, everything vanished. Who's bleeding? Amelia? It's Sienna. Greta sobbed. She's gone mad, senor. She locked the doors. She's destroying her. She's screaming. And I hear things breaking. Dante's blood ran cold. Sienna Mercer. The daughter of a Chicago politician. The woman who had once begged to stay at the estate after a break-in, the one he had allowed to be there for Amelia's sake. Harmless? Foolish. I'm coming, Dante whispered, a growl that made the rain outside seem tame. He hung up and signaled Rocco. Kill him. Make it messy. And get the car. Now. He didn't wait for O'Malley's screams. Dante sprinted through the club, burst through the back exit into the pouring rain, and dove into his black Maserati MC20. Get out, he barked to the driver. Tires screeched against wet asphalt. 20 miles to Lake Forest. 40 minutes in this weather. Dante had 15. Swerving through traffic like a phantom, his mind flashed back to that morning. Amelia had been pale at breakfast. Hair like spun gold, eyes like sorrow itself. Are you okay, Mia? He asked, glancing at her. I'm fine, just a headache, she whispered. Sienna gave me some tea. Sienna? Dante gripped the wheel. He had seen Amelia's bruised wrist. She said she tripped. He had believed her. Foolish. And now, she was at Sienna's mercy. He drifted around a corner. Tires screamed. Rain lashed his face. If she touched her, if Sienna harmed her in any way. Dante Cavallo would burn the city down. The gates of Blackwood Estate loomed, iron and foreboding. Dante didn't stop for the keypad. He rammed the Maserati through, metal screaming, headlights shattered, paint scraped to primer. He skidded to a halt. Greta appeared, frantic. "I tried to stop her, senor. She hit me with a vase and locked the door." Dante didn't hesitate. He stormed upstairs, taking the stairs 3 at a time. The sounds hit him before the door did. Not just things breaking, thuds of flesh, a voice, high and manic. "You think he loves you? You worthless little stray." Dante reached the master suite. Locked. "Open this door," he bellowed. "Tell him." Sienna's laughter rang out. "Tell him what a failure you are, Amelia." Dante's hand slammed against the door. The wood splintered. And then, he kicked it open. The room wasn't just destroyed. It was a war zone. The room smelled of shattered glass and fear. Every luxury item Dante had spent a fortune on lay in ruins, splintered and soaked with rain dripping from the shattered skylight. And there, at the center of the chaos, stood Sienna Mercer, eyes wild, hair a tangled halo of fury, hands dripping crimson paint from the smashed portraits. "Stop her!" Greta screamed, diving forward only to be shoved back. Dante didn't hesitate. He lunged forward, closing the distance in 3 massive strides. His hand grabbed Sienna's wrist, steel wrapped in velvet, but she twisted, a flash of panic and rebellion. "You don't own her." Sienna spat, her voice slicing through the storm of the shattered room. Dante's eyes burned. "I don't own anyone. But you won't touch her." Sienna laughed, a sound so manic it could unhinge the strongest mind. "She deserves to learn. She deserves pain. You think your golden girl is safe? Ha! I decide that." Amelia crouched in the corner, trembling but alive. Her eyes met Dante's, a silent plea passing between them. He felt his chest tighten, the old king replaced by a man whose soul was on fire. Dante didn't speak. Words would not save Amelia. Only action. He grabbed Sienna again, spinning her toward the shattered mirror. The reflection fractured her fury, multiplied it into 1,000 images. Sienna screamed, thrashing, but Dante's grip was iron. Every muscle in his body tensed. He was no longer thinking, he was reacting, moving with the lethal precision of a predator. "Enough!" he roared. Sienna froze, her wild eyes locking onto his. For the first time, fear cracked through her mask of rage. But it was fleeting. She lunged at Amelia. Dante intercepted, pulling her backward with a violent twist that sent her sprawling onto the carpet, gasping. Amelia scrambled to her feet, clutching her trembling hands to her chest. "Dante, she was going to." "I know," Dante growled, voice low and lethal. "And she won't ever again." The storm outside mirrored the chaos inside. Rain pounded against the shattered windows. Thunder shook the walls. Every flash of lightning illuminated the wreckage, highlighting Dante's expression, controlled fury, a king unleashed. Sienna tried to rise, to attack again. Dante's boot pinned her to the floor. "No more games," he said. "Not tonight. Not ever." Greta rushed in, holding Amelia, her hands shaking. "Senor, she's still breathing, she's alive, but the girl." Dante looked at Sienna, a slow, deliberate calm settling over his rage. He could feel every decision weighing, every consequence. "Call the police," he ordered Greta. "Tell them what happened, and make sure she never touches anyone again." Sienna's laughter turned to sobs, then silence. Dante released her, stepping back. His eyes never left her as she crumpled, defeated by the very authority she had challenged. Amelia ran into his arms, trembling, soaked from the rain that had followed him inside. Dante held her close, feeling the warmth of the only person in the world who mattered. "It's over," he whispered, more to himself than to her. But Dante knew better. In his world, chaos was never truly gone. It only waited for the next moment, the next mistake. Tonight had been a warning, a storm of blood, rage, and fear. And Dante Cavallo, king of Chicago's underworld, had survived it. He stepped back, looking at the wrecked room, at Sienna's broken figure, at Amelia trembling in Greta's arms. The king's eyes were cold, but his heart, hidden beneath steel and fury, beat with a single promise: nobody hurts what I love. Nobody. The city was alive with shadows and whispers as Dante and Emilia stepped into the rain-soaked alley behind the crumbling mansion. Every step echoed against the brick walls, each puddle reflecting neon signs from streets that had long forgotten mercy. Emilia's hands shook as she clung to Dante's arm. "Is it really over?" she whispered, voice barely audible over the storm. Dante didn't answer immediately. His eyes scanned every corner, every shadow, every flicker of movement. Nothing escaped him. He had learned long ago that safety was an illusion. "Not yet," he said finally, voice low, sharp as a blade. "But we're closer than we've been all night." Greta followed a few steps behind, holding the first aid kit like a shield. "Senor, the police are on their way, but they won't be here for a while." "What do we do?" Dante's jaw tightened. He glanced at Emilia, whose wide eyes reflected fear and trust in equal measure. "We make sure she never finds us again. Tonight, we finish this, her, and anything she left behind." The alley ended at a rusted gate, its iron bars twisting like the claws of some long-dead monster. Beyond it lay the streets Dante had grown up in, streets that had shaped him, hardened him, made him king of a world that ran on fear and respect. Then he saw her. Sienna Mercer had followed them. Her coat was torn, hair plastered to her face by the relentless rain, eyes wild with a mixture of fury and desperation. She clutched something in her hand, a knife glinting under the sporadic lightning. "You think you can escape me?" Sienna yelled, voice shrill and broken. "You think this ends here?" Emilia gasped, stumbling back. Greta stepped forward, but Dante's hand shot out, stopping her. He was calm, almost unnervingly so, but his presence was a force that pulled the world into stillness. "Drop it," Dante said, voice flat, controlled, carrying the weight of inevitability. "You've lost. Walk away, and maybe you live. Don't, and you won't." Sienna's lips curled into a snarl. She lunged, the knife cutting through the air like lightning striking the earth. Dante moved before she even completed her motion, swift, precise, unstoppable. In a heartbeat, he disarmed her, twisting the knife from her grip and sending it skittering across the wet cobblestones. She fell to her knees, chest heaving, fury burning in her eyes like a dying fire. "You can't," she stammered. "I already have," Dante interrupted, his tone final, unyielding. "This is your last chance. Walk away." Sienna didn't move. Her rebellion faltered, and fear finally began to seep in. The city seemed to hold its breath, every drop of rain suspended, every distant siren silenced in anticipation. Dante took a step closer, and she crumbled. Not to mercy, never to mercy, but to the truth that she had no power left. Emilia ran to him, arms wrapped tight around his waist. I thought I was going to." "You're safe now," Dante whispered, pressing his forehead against hers. The rain soaked them both, but it felt like a baptism, washing away the night's terror. Greta knelt beside Sienna, cuffing her as the distant sound of approaching sirens grew louder. Sienna's defiance had finally met its match. Dante didn't watch. His eyes were on Emilia, on the only light left in a world that had tried to swallow her whole. He held her close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest, steadying his own. "No one touches what I love," he muttered, almost to himself. The storm around them was relentless, but inside that small embrace, there was calm, there was certainty, and there was a promise that no darkness could undo. As the sirens closed in, Dante let go of Sienna, stepping back into the shadows that had always been his domain. The night had tested him, tried to break him, but he had survived. And for the first time in years, he felt it, hope, fragile but undeniable, shining like a torch in the endless city night. The night had settled over the city like a velvet trap, wet streets glistening with neon reflections. Dante and Emilia walked silently, their footsteps echoing off the empty walls, each step a careful negotiation with the shadows. Every alley seemed alive, every corner hiding threats that had no name but all the intent in the world. Emilia's grip on Dante's arm tightened. "Do you think it's really over?" she asked, voice trembling. Dante's eyes scanned the darkness, sharp and calculating. Not until I make sure she never hurts anyone again, he replied, voice low, like gravel sliding under steel. Then, yes, then we can finally breathe. Greta followed a few paces behind, silent but alert, her hands twitching near the first aid kit. Senor, the police will be here soon, but they can't protect us from what's still out there, she said. Dante didn't answer immediately. His gaze was fixed on the horizon, on the faint light of a street lamp flickering through the rain. We handle it before anyone else gets involved. We finish this tonight, no mistakes. Suddenly, a noise, a metallic scrape against the alley wall, made Amelia jump. Dante's hand shot out, gripping her shoulder, steadying her. The shadows moved, coalescing into a figure she recognized immediately, Sienna Mercer. Her eyes burned with hatred, chest heaving, drenched by rain. She held the knife in her hand, shaking, but ready. You think you've won, she screamed, voice cracking. You'll pay for what you did. Amelia's breath caught in her throat. Greta stepped forward instinctively, but Dante's hand stopped her. He didn't flinch. He didn't hesitate. Drop it, Dante said, voice calm but commanding. This is your last warning. Walk away, or face the consequences. Sienna lunged. Lightning split the sky as she swung the knife. But Dante was faster, always faster. In a single fluid motion, he disarmed her, sending the blade skittering across the wet cobblestones. She fell to her knees, fury mixing with fear. No, you can't, she stammered. I already have, Dante interrupted. It ends tonight. Walk away, or don't. Sienna's defiance wavered, crumbling under the weight of inevitability. Her breathing was ragged, her eyes wild. The city seemed to hold its breath, every raindrop frozen in time, every distant siren muted by the tension in the air. Amelia stepped forward, wrapping her arms around Dante. I thought we were finished. You're safe now, Dante whispered, pressing his forehead against hers. The rain soaked them both, but it was cleansing, a baptism against the chaos that had hunted them all night. Greta moved quickly, cuffing Sienna before she could regain her strength. The faint sound of approaching sirens grew louder, promising backup, but it wasn't needed. Sienna had lost her battle. Dante's gaze never wavered from Amelia. He held her close, feeling her pulse against his chest. No one touches what I love, he muttered. The storm around them raged on, but within that small embrace, there was calm, certainty, and a promise that darkness could never undo. For the first time in years, Dante felt it, a fragile, undeniable hope, glowing like a torch in the endless night. The rain continued to fall, washing the streets clean, as Dante led Amelia and Greta toward the safety of the city lights. The world had tried to crush them, but they had survived. And now, against the backdrop of chaos and violence, a new chapter was beginning, one where they could finally breathe, finally live, and finally choose who they wanted to be, free from the shadows that had once ruled them. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel. Your subscription means a lot.